What's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? The Boxing Source here checking in. And you know what? This is another video in reference to Oleksandr Usyk and his win over Tyson Fury in the rematch. 3 scores of 116 to 112 for him to stay undefeated and still be the top heavyweight out there. Yes, 23-0. Yeah, he's not, technically the undisputed champion still, but we all know that, yeah, he's the undisputed champion. Now, I did talk about Usyk in the previous video and his standing when it comes to your all-time great overall, or all-time great heavyweight. But you know what? We it seems like we have somebody that has a certain status in boxing that talked about Oleksandr Usyk and saying that he's not an all-time great heavyweight or an all-time this, an all-time that, and that was Timothy Bradley. Yes, Timothy Bradley had a few things to say about all that in his channel. Shout out to his channel. He, recently, posted his channel up. He recently opened up his channel on YouTube, and he has pretty much had a great number of subscribers jump on there within just a matter of months, just a couple of months. There, but a number of those comments that he's had over the past couple months have really gotten people started. But this one right here, yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about this. Now, it's kind of funny there from Timothy Bradley. I don't know if this is ESPN Tim Bradley or if this is ProBox TV Tim Bradley, because sometimes, when he was on ESPN, he'll have something that he'll be saying, and on ProBox TV, he'll be on a whole different type of energy or something like that. But this one, he's like, oh, Usyk is great, but in pretty much the video, you can watch it on this channel, but it's almost like he's slowed down with all the talk about Oleksandr Usyk. And I'm like, wait a minute, how are we going to slow down about the talk of Oleksandr Usyk when we know what he has done in his professional career? So, you know what? Let's try to go into a couple of things that Tim Bradley said, whether it's through audio or whatever, but we're going to go through a couple of things that Tim Bradley said, right? And then I'm going to respond to it because, whew, my goodness, it's a lot. I'll just say it's a lot. Now, first, let's go into within the first 30 seconds or something of what Tim Bradley said here. So I'm going to see if I can get this audio thing working, y'all. Hold up a bit. Hold up. I mean, y'all might be able to hear it. Y'all might be able to hear it. I don't know if they got a whole little thing about fair use or whatever it is, but we're going to, go ahead and play the audio. Like I said, you can watch the video on this channel, but here it goes.
But I'm going to give y'all the real right now. First of all, I'm going to start, and I'm not even going to talk about the fight right now, but yeah, all this all-time great shit that's going on, all-time great, are you kidding me? Man, look, recency bias, just because he beat the 2 best heavyweights of this era does not make him an all-time great. Usyk, that's what I'm talking about.
Now, wait a minute, wait a minute. Recency bias? This isn't about recency bias. It's about what he's actually done. We're talking about Oleksandr Usyk, who, like I said in a previous video, beating the top 2 guys, which you kind of mentioned in your video here. You beat the top 2 guys in your division twice. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't he come in as an underdog in the first fight for both Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury? If that's the case, then he was able to overcome those odds in order to be winning those fights. And like I said, become undisputed champion in a division, in a heavyweight division that was basically ruled by those 2 fighters in Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. This is after he was able to become the undisputed champion at cruiserweight and defend that undisputed championship against Tony Bellew and stop Tony Bellew before going up to heavyweight. Now, the thing about it is, I talked about this in the previous video when it comes to this thing about Oleksandr Usyk in comparison to the other fighters of those previous eras. Now, you had what was going on in the 2010s and the 2000s and the 1990s and so on and so forth. You talk about the guys like Larry Holmes, right? Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, Michael Moore. Going to the 2000s or whatever it is, you talk about, Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, and what they've done. You go into the 2010s, into the 2020s here, you had the era there with Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. Now, the thing about it is, if you go to the previous era, at least I would say, right? Going through the so-called lineage there when Tyson Fury defeated Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko was a long-standing unified champion. You have Vitaly Klitschko for some time as the WBC champion before he ended up retiring and the WBC title becoming vacant before eventually Deontay Wilder winning that WBC title over Vermont Severn, right? So you have the Klitschko brothers. You have what was happening in the 90s, as I mentioned there, and you would have to do something where you would compare Oleksandr Usyk to those particular eras and those fighters. Now, in reference to Oleksandr Usyk, a lot of people bring up, him being, from the Ukraine and stuff like that, and we're talking about the Klitschko brothers, who are also from the Ukraine. Now, you have Vitaly there, like I said, long-standing champion with the WBC belt. Vladimir, long-standing champion with the unified titles there and winning all of those titles. But during that particular time, folks were saying that was a quote-unquote down period in the heavyweight division. And here over the past few years, whether it's been, since 2015 up until now, so it's been going on 9 years and about to be 10, that the heavyweight division had gotten a boost stemming from what Tyson Fury did beating Vladimir Klitschko, right? So now you have Oleksandr Usyk, who was able to defeat Tyson Fury twice, was able to defeat Anthony Joshua twice, was able to have wins over Derek Chisora, Chaz Witherspoon, Daniel Dubois, within his current run at heavyweight. And then you talk about what he's done at cruiserweight with his wins over Maurice Briedis and against Murat Gasayev, basically en route to him becoming the undisputed champion at cruiserweight. So when it comes to Usyk and him being an all-time great, yes, you could do that for him, at least right now. An all-time heavyweight, you know what? You could do that here as well. Yes, he's only had a few fights in the heavyweight division, right? In comparison to a lot of these fighters that are being brought up and that I have brought up. But I'll put it this way. Let's talk about like a run from a guy that came from a lower weight to become heavyweight champion in Evander Holyfield. Now, Evander Holyfield was a world champion in the lower weight, went up to heavyweight, got a win over, Michael Dokes within his, 20th professional fight to become a serious contender for the world heavyweight title, then being able to defeat, Buster Douglas within, his 24th pro fight to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. Now, you have Oleksandr Usyk that was able to become undisputed champion within 22 pro fights with his win over Tyson Fury months ago. Now, you kind of could compare those two particular resumes up to that particular point, then yeah, you know what? I say within those feats, you could have Usyk in that conversation as an all-time great heavyweight. Does he have a few more years left in him? That remains to be seen. But at least for right now, you know what? You should be able to put him in the conversation. Now, the other thing that I wanted to get at with Timothy Bradley Jr. is another comment in reference to the fight itself that took place between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury on Saturday. Now, oh my God. Woo! He had me laughing like Michael Jordan in that, the Oprah show that he was on? Woo! Or some man. But his comment about Oleksandr Usyk and his supposed style is what got me like, come on, Tim Bradley, what are you talking about? So you know what? Let's go through that particular comment here from Timothy Bradley Jr. Let's see if we can do this. Hold on, here we go.
You gotta get this man different looks. Usyk, believe it or not, is basic. He's basic, people. Basic, fundamental boxing. He is a professional amateur boxer. Boy fighting. He's fantastic at it. He ain't in there trying to hurt you. He trying to just beat you. That's it. The points, that's it. Landing the right shots in the right spot at the right times. He's excellent, but he's basic. And what I mean by basic is uses the probe and the jousting. Fury got it early on. He got involved in that. Forget that jousting stuff. You're letting him touch you, and letting him touch your hands, right? So he can maneuver and put your hands where you want it, so he can slide past that. But it's all to inch his feet closer to you. That's all it's for. To inch his feet closer to you so he can come down with the left hand. But he's a basic 1-2 fighter. That's it.
Oh, hold on. A basic fundamental boxer, Oleksandr Usyk. And you know what? I mean, that particular part right there is pretty much around halfway of the video that he has. But you can't call Oleksandr Usyk a basic fundamental boxer, not because he was able to become, as I say right now, 23-0 with those wins over Tyson Fury, with those wins over Anthony Joshua, with the win over Murat Gatsayev, with the win over Maris Brightus, with the win over Tony Bellew, with the win over Derek Chisora, with the win over Daniel Dubois, with the win over Chaz Witherspoon. I mean, I could go on and on and on, right? But saying that Oleksandr Usyk is a basic fundamental fighter is not giving enough credit to Oleksandr Usyk and what he's done in the ring. Like talking about, the probing and all that type of stuff. Wait a minute, I did that actually wrong because Oleksandr Usyk is basically a southpaw fighter. So this is my right hand, this is my lead hand, and this, he's actually around my height, around 6'3", but I'm much bigger, so to speak. When it comes to the actual size. But he's talking about Oleksandr Usyk probing and all that type of stuff. But he's doing a lot of moving. He has a lot of movement. He's, in and out. He's up and down with his guard. He's ducking down. You see, you didn't even see me right there. Like this is pretty much at the height of Oleksandr Usyk, pretty much where I'm at right now. And if he's like this and he's moving up and down, you kind of like see me not really in the frame or anything like that, right? Now, you talk about Tyson Fury that's 6'9", that has the reach that he has, but you still have to be able to punch down just from your actual stance and try to punch down to get to Oleksandr Usyk, number one. Now, you have Oleksandr Usyk that's still moving with his head, with his body, with his legs, moving around. That gives him a much tougher target to try to hit. That's number one. Number two, of course, we know Usyk is the faster fighter. So even with Fury able to throw the jab, whether it's at the orthodox stance or the southpaw stance, guess what? If you miss, Usyk's going to make you pay. And that's what he did for the majority of that fight. And that's why he was able to land to the body of Tyson Fury on multiple occasions. Now, you had the whole thing with the punch stats about, hey, Tyson Fury may have thrown more punches, but he didn't land more punches. Why? Because Oleksandr Usyk was the one with the movement, with the speed, with the footwork, getting in and out of the line of where Tyson Fury was. So calling Oleksandr Usyk a basic fighter or a guy with basic fundamentals is not giving him enough credit for all the intangibles, all the other stuff that he has, because if he's a basic fighter, then why, in the first fight, was he able to score the knockdown that he did against Tyson Fury? That means he has some type of power, at least, going behind that, right? So you got to give Oleksandr Usyk a little bit more credit than that, than calling him a basic fighter or somebody that has basic fundamentals, because you don't have a record of 23-0 and be able to defeat the fighters that he has defeated by being a guy with basic fundamentals. A lot of fighters can have and do have basic fundamentals, but they don't get to the level that Oleksandr Usyk has gotten to. So, with that being said, Tim Bradley, was that top-ranked Tim or was that Pro Box TV Tim? Which one was it? Because, yeah, Tyson Fury is, kind of like what? Has a co-promotional deal with Top Rank alongside Queensberry Promotions. But the thing about it is like, are you leaning towards Tyson Fury in this particular instance because of a lot of things that you may have said about Tyson Fury in the past? Because you, at least for me, you got to be able to give Oleksandr Usyk much more credit than that. Much more credit than that. And yes, you can say that he is among the best all-time heavyweights out there. Why? Because of what I said earlier. You got to look at what he's able to do within this era and then compare it to other eras that have happened in the past. One, right? And then two, all the stuff that folks have been saying about the 2000s and the 2010s in reference to the Klitschko's and how a lot of people don't really put the Klitschko's up there. Are you saying that about Usyk as well? Or how about this? Would you say that Oleksandr Usyk's run at heavyweight, just with the amount of fights that he's had, was better than what Vitaly did and what Vladimir did during their run at heavyweight. That's the thing you got to think about. But with that being said, I just had to get at Tim Bradley about that. I just had to. But you know what? That isn't, you know what? In some cases, that doesn't really surprise me about Tim Bradley because he's had a number of comments in the past that have really been super questionable. So with that being said, that's it from the Boxing Source, man. I am out. You could go ahead and hit the like button if you agree with what I'm talking about. You could go ahead and comment if you didn't agree with what I'm talking about. But sooner or later, maybe we may talk with Tim Bradley about this because, yeah, he is way off with this one. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.